the crown jewel in an empire built upon trillions of dollars in iPods and iMacs and iPads and Apple Watches and iPhones. Devices that, despite being some of the most advanced computers ever made, can still be operated by toddlers. Their power dwarfs that of the supercomputers Crowder once worked with at IBM. That he'd come to IBM at all seemed like another kind of dream. He'd failed 8th grade algebra. After high school, he bummed around until enlisting in the Army, where he trained as a medic. A year and a half of doctor's training with all the theory stripped out, so that you simply knew the essentials required to save a life. The practicality and the pressure lit into him. The one-time layabout graduated first in his class. After service came college at East Texas State University in Commerce. It wasn't the edge of nowhere, but you could see the edge, he told me. Crowder had seen an IBM recruitment flyer on a bulletin board at college, calling for science majors to enter a newfangled training program. He replied, and they called him back. He flew up to Yorktown, New York, without much idea of what to expect. IBM's research center was a crescent-shaped architectural landmark designed by the great Finnish-American designer Eero Saarinen, the original corporate campus-as spaceship. Its facade was a gleaming, curved glass curtain wall, and the walls inside were hewn from New York's native granite. The building's design was a statement about the modern workplace from the world's smartest company, with as many PhDs on staff as a university. Crowder walked to his job interview in awe. The building resembled nothing so much as the spaceship from 2001, a bright techno-future that was big news in 1968. Here was a place where the water cooler conversations were about scientific breakthroughs. I'd have done anything to work there. I didn't care if I had to clean the toilets, Crowder said, his voice shimmering with glee. IBM had run out of computer programmers, and the company wanted to make more of them. Crowder got the job, and he took to the pragmatic nature of the work, using computers to solve real-world problems that you could measure by the ton, such as mapping shipping routes and calculating trucking loads. He found that he had a mind for visualizing the complex equations his job required. The field where Crowder worked, operations research, began with World War II and the Marshall Plan. Rebuilding Europe meant shipping a mind-boggling amount of materiel across the Atlantic, but also shipping back a mind-boggling amount of materiel that had accumulated in dozens of countries during a war effort of unprecedented scale. Loading ships efficiently on the way over, then loading them up efficiently for the return home, was a math problem whose unruly complexity demanded computing power. Crowder was working on these sorts of operational problems for IBM's clients in the 1960s. To create a computer program, he had to use a machine to punch intricate holes in cards the size of an airplane boarding pass. When he was done, he couldn't just walk up to the computer himself. The computer was a $5 million machine, about $35 million in today's money, patrolled by 2 security guards and a perky-eared German shepherd. Crowder would spend all day programming and then take his stack of cards to the computer attendant behind a window, who fed the cards into the machine. The computer would spend all night calculating, and the results would usually be ready for Crowder by the morning, if he hadn't made a mistake. This was a big if. A mistake would be as simple as a misplaced character that gummed up the processing, or a poorly defined equation that divided by 0 and sent the computer into looping infinities. Shades of Apple again. The address of its former campus is one infinite loop. Faced with fitfully waiting overnight to see if all the days they'd spent programming had been wasted by a typo, a cultish group of programmers at IBM found a way out. Working at a mini-computer tied to a mainframe down the hall and using a simplified programming language called APL, literally a programming language, you could simply write a program and run it. You just typed up your program, saw whether the computer spat out meaningful results, and immediately knew whether your program was heading in the right direction. This was magic. Simply seeing the fruits of your work right away let you shape new ideas in your head just as soon as you had them. Years later, Steve Jobs would describe a computer as a bicycle for the mind, a fabulous machine.